Hi guys, if we thought that Keir Starmer's week couldn't get any worse, well, now we have this story. So, Clive Lewis, who's always been a thorn in the Prime Minister's side, has said that he'd be willing to give up his seat for Andy Burnham in order to run against the Prime Minister Keir Starmer. Have a listen to what he had to say when he was on the BBC.
I mean, Clive, isn't that the point here? You're not in opposition anymore. No. You're in government, and having a leadership contest while you're in government.
And whoever comes in, whoever came in next, and this is speculation, we saw that with the Conservatives. The democratic legitimacy of the person that comes in next after Boris Johnson is reduced. I mean, it was Liz Truss.
Because they haven't won an election.
Because they haven't won an election. It becomes difficult. I mean, I know exactly the problems that we face, but I think Sonia's correct. It seems, we're in a quandary. It feels like we're in checkmate, and it's hard to see a way out of it.
Is Andy Burnham up for this?
You have to ask Andy Burnham.
Have you spoken to him?
I have spoken to Andy Burnham, yeah.
I'm not sure if he wants to move to Norwich, but would you give up your seat for him?
It's a question I've asked myself, and I'd have to obviously consult with my wife as well and family. But you know what? If I'm going to sit here and say, country before party, party before personal ambition, then yes, I have to say yes, don't I?
You give up your seat for Andy Burnham?
I would, yeah.
Wow, OK. We'll get him on the phone.
OK. Now, is this going to happen? I highly doubt it. But is there a possibility that it could happen? Yes, I think there's certainly a possibility that Clive Lewis could give up his seat for Andy Burnham. Now, this would upset, of course, his constituents. Now, he won his seat he won his seat for the first time in 2015, but at the last election, he did pretty well. He won with a majority of 13,000. Now, the problem, of course, as I mentioned before, is Labour are not doing very well in the polls. Now, I don't know when this by-election would take place. He couldn't just leave and hand over the seat to Andy Burnham. Andy Burnham would have to run in a by-election. And he'd have to have the support of the Labour Party and, of course, the support, in a sense, of the Labour leadership. Now, would that happen? I highly doubt it. So it would have to be some sort of organisation within Labour acting against the Prime Minister, supporting Andy Burnham to run in Norwich South. But remember, constituents don't like MPs changing within the party. They voted for Clive Lewis to do a job. He's giving up that job to allow Andy Burnham to take over. And I don't know whether everyone in that constituency would support that. They might prefer that their MP stay as he is and do his job. So there's a risk here of it pissing off people within the constituency and them not voting for Labour. And then what would happen? There's a likelihood that the seat could go to the Greens. That'd be a massive failure for the insurgents within the Labour Party, but it'd be a massive win for Keir Starmer because he said there, we lost a seat. I have lots of other ones, and I've seen off a massive threat, the threat of Andy Burnham, who is really a significant threat if he actually got in. Now, as I've mentioned before, he'd need to win this seat. It's not guaranteed that he would. Remember, the majority belongs to Clive Lewis. It's not part of it belongs to Clive Lewis, of course, and part of it to the Labour Party. But switching Clive Lewis out with Andy Burnham is not a guarantee that it would maintain that majority. And then, of course, he would have to be nominated by people within the party to challenge Starmer. And I don't see that happening in the short term anyway. So it's an interesting development, if it is a development. It's not going to go down very well with people within the Labour Party. I think at the moment, many people say, look, we need to stick with Starmer at least until the May elections, and then we can decide if he's worth it. Because I think changing now or changing just before the May elections may result in a situation where people say, well, we messed up, we changed the leader and we discouraged people from coming out and voting. But there's also the other side, is that you can offload the blame for a bad result of the May election on Starmer. And then that would encourage more people to support the idea of removing him. So I think the rebels will probably hold on to their powder, keep it dry until after the May election. Because if the result is terrible, then there's more ammunition they have to remove Starmer. But if they do it before and the result is terrible, then Starmer can sort of say, I told you so. This type of thing I don't think is going to be very popular with everyone in the party. It'll be popular with some. Andy Burnham tried to present himself as an alternative recently at the conference. It didn't go down very well, but he still has his supporters. But once again, it would have to be a case of him receiving a significant amount of support, winning that seat, and then taking it to the next step. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think, and I'll see you in the next video.